Hello Booktube and welcome back. Well, I hope everybody had a fantastic Christmas, and if you're in the UK, Boxing Day as well. I know I did. I had many mince pies and many pints of Guinness and Baileys. Oh, many Baileys. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed yourselves. I was going to make a few videos leading up to Christmas, but I completely lost track of time. I was really busy, so I was unfortunately not able to do any. But hey ho, I am back, and to kick it all off, I will do another bookshelf tour, and a bit of a mini book haul as well, because I got more Penguin cloth bound classics for Christmas. Only 3, so that's why I don't want to make a separate video. And as you can see, one of my bookshelves is now completely empty. And that's because I've knocked my phone off the shelf twice now. So I've got all the books and put them up here instead, where it's, the camera's more stable. So let's begin with more cloth-bound classics that I received, because I think I made the birthday one, because I got 4 cloth-bound classics for my birthday. I think I made a video, I think I did. And so let's talk about the 3 I got for Christmas. Again, like the ones previous, I've not read any of these classics, so a bit flaky on what they actually are, but I think you kind of know. So the first one is Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. Now, I believe this is set during the American Civil War, and it's based around 3 sisters, I think, trying to survive in New England during that period, and like the main character is a kind of tomboy, and she wants to be an author, and there's a lovey-dovey sister. And I think that's pretty much what it's about, the 3 sisters trying to survive the Civil War period. So looking forward to getting towards that next month with the other 6. What's next? I also received The Tenant of Wildfell Hall by Anne Bronte. Pardon me. I've read quite a few of the Bronte sisters. I enjoyed Wuthering Heights, but I've not read anything by Anne Bronte. Now, I believe this is it's all about a woman trying to seek her own independence, I think, and she's the proprietor of Wildfell Hall. And there's a love interest and all that, and it's all about those 2 trying to crack on, and, her trying to put her foot down and remain independent. So, yep, there's the second one. Again, nice little cover there. But this one, I think, out of all the Penguin cloth-bound classics that I've been given, this cover is probably my favourite. And this is Edgar Allan Poe, The Fall of the House of Usher. Look at that. I love me some of that. Isn't that grand, that? That's probably my favourite cover out of all the cloth-bound classics. Again, I've never read any of Edgar Allan Poe's stuff anyway. I know this is a short story, The Fall of House Usher, so there must be more. There are probably more poems in this, won't there? I know this is I think it's about an unnamed man who receives a letter to go and see a friend, and that's all I can glimpse out of actually what it is. And typical Edgar Allan Poe, it's about going mad, it's about craziness, isolationism, and then, horrend, and, typical Poe. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting to that, and yeah, look at that, ba-boom. So they're the 3 cloth-bound classics that I received on Christmas, and they will be getting read next month. So I'll have a huge crop of classics to be reading in January. So let's crack on with the bookshelf tour, the naked shelf behind me. All of them are here. And I can't remember what number this is. I think it's actually number 15. I think I could be Pinocchio in there. I'm not 100% sure. But the first 2 is the books I've not read. And apart from the classics down there, I think they're the only books I haven't read in this whole room. And I talked about the first one in an earlier, you can just see it there. I talked about it in an earlier bookshelf tour, and this is the 2nd and 3rd in the fantasy trilogy. I don't know what the fantasy trilogy is actually called, but this is by Joe Abercrombie, and this is Half a War and Half a World, is it? Yeah. I love this author. He also wrote The Blade itself, and I actually love that fantasy trilogy. And I've not read these, so I don't know how good they are. Again, it's all your fantasy tropes. I'm not 100% sure what's going on in these two books, but from what I can gather from the first book, it's like a weak king trying to reclaim his kingdom, and he gathers around him like a fellowship of cranks. And I think these, the last two books are following on from that, and they meet new quirky characters. That's what I can glimpse anyway. So I probably will read this next year, because I am interested in reading it. I have no idea why I haven't read it. But yeah. Right. These two are probably, I don't know why. Oh, they're there on because it's part of a series, these two books, and I was wondering why they're not with the rest of the books. It's because they're hardbacks and the rest of them are paperbacks. And without further ado, yes, these are Robert Jordan's The Wheel of Time. This is Towers of Midnight and A Memory of Light. Is it the 14th and the 15th book if you include the prequel? I think so. This was actually basically penned by Brandon Sanderson when Robert Jordan died. I think he did a fairly great job of it, to be honest with you. I really enjoyed. I think The Gathering of Storm, the first one he wrote when Robert Jordan died, it was probably my favourite of the three he wrote. But yeah, this is all about now the build up to the climatic last battle, which Randall Thor's got to fight the Dark One, right? Typical fantasy tropes. I remember the last battle. I mean, this is a chunk of a book. The last battle is like the chapter is like half the book. That's what I remember from that. And I think he did a fairly alright job of ending it. There's, when you've been reading a series for so long, I picked this up in the late 90s. You have in your head all kind of like things that might happen, and when they don't happen, you're like, oh, okay, yeah. But hey ho, it's still fairly well done. And Towers of Midnight as well, trying to save the Aes Sedai Maureen from the tower. But yeah, I think he did a fairly okay job at finishing the Wheel of Time series, especially after the Crossroads of Twilight. Oh, that's terrible fantasy book. Well, the next three are probably the only ones on that shelf that are not fantasy. They are historical fiction, and these are really good. I believe 2 out of 3 of these books won the Booker Prize. And without further ado, this is Wolf Hall by Hilary Mantel. Really good. It's about Thomas Cromwell. He worked for Henry VIII, and historically, and everybody thought he was a bit of a bastard, to be honest with you. And Hilary does a good job of kind of like humanising him a bit in these books, and she does a really good job at it. But he's still a hateful kind of a guy, And basically all 3 books chronicle his life serving under Henry VIII, and the first one's more of Henry VIII wanting to get rid of his first wife and marry Anne Boleyn, which leads to Bring Up the Bodies, the second one. This is again Henry VIII. Okay, yeah, I'm sick of Anne Boleyn now. She's cheated on me, cut her head off. And this is all about how Thomas Cromwell achieved that. And then the last one, which I don't think won the book, but is my personal favourite, even though it's a bit of a chunker, is, okay, after Anne Boleyn's death, how does Thomas Cromwell survive Henry VIII's reign? For those of you who know your history, does he or does he not? But yeah, the Hilary Mantel's Wolf Hall trilogy is a really good series. Okay, where do we start here? Oh, okay, this is heavy. This is I was supposed to say it is a fantasy trilogy, but it's part of a larger series. And it's one of my favourite fantasy series, probably top 3. And this is by Robin Hobb. This is Fool's Assassin, Fool's Quest, and then Assassin's Fate. And I don't know whether these are going to be the last 3 books of the whole of the realm of the Elderling series. I hope not, because I absolutely adore this. And the principal character is B, which is the assassin's daughter, Fitz's daughter. It's all about her relationship with her father and her relationship with the Fool as well. Pretty much a character arc gets wrapped, two character arcs get wrapped up in this trilogy. It's really, really good. I do really enjoy the all of Robin Hobb's books. You can read them as separate trilogies and whatnot, but it's nice just to read all of them. You know what I'm talking about for those of you who read Robin Hobb's books. I think they're really, really good. So yeah, fits in the Fool trilogy, I think that's called. Yeah, really good. Again, another fine work of fantasy. This is Ursula Le Guin. This is the Books of Earthsea. Yes, Books of Earthsea. One of the fantasy classics here. I think they've got drawings in them. Yeah, they have, yeah. I love the Book of Earthsea. It reminds me of being a kid. So yes, this is about Jed, you know, and his trials and tribulations as he island hops and goes to different locations and gets, you know, embroiled with dragons. So, yeah, but this it's not, I think there's 5 books and then other works as well. But yeah, I was a big fan of the Books of Earthsea. You know, if you want to read your fantasy classics, you've got like the Lord of the Rings, you've got the Gormengasts, the Once and Future King, but the Books of Earthsea should be up there for your reading, for your fantasy classics. Hang on. Oh, here we go. So I've got one single volume of work here and a quadrilogy. And let's start with the single volume. Again, this is by an author that's been mentioned, Joe Abercrombie. And this is A Red Country. Again, I love Joe's covers. So I think this one is about does someone kill a family and destroy a homestead, and then she's on a revenge kick with her stepdad, Lamb. I think her name's Sly or Shy or something like that. And it's all about her trying to reclaim, you know, a bit of vengeance for what's happened to her. And Lamb, a stepdad, you know, she thinks he's weak all the way through the book, where, you know, it turns out there's a swerve coming. Red Country's up there. Well, it's an independent work, you know, from the First Law universe, if you want to call it that. I don't know what my favourite is. I wouldn't say it's Red Country. I do like Best Served Cold, which is kind of like a Kill Bill independent book. I do like Heroes as well. They're all good. I do like this author. He's a really good fantasy author. Now, this last quadrilogy, this is a 10-book series. So these are the last 4 books in the 10. And the reason why they're probably by themselves is because these are hardbacks, and I think the first 6 are paperbacks. Yeah, they are. They're down there. Pardon me. And I might as well just say it. This is the last chronicles of Thomas Commons. So these are the ruins of the earth. I'm not sure if this is actually in the right order. That's not in the right order at all. Fatal Revenants. Against All Things Ending, and The Last Dark. Again, they look like interesting, you know, book covers, but boy, oh boy, oh boy. Oh, they are probably some of the most boring fantasy I've ever read. And the reason why I keep them is because I like the first 3 and I like to keep the whole series together rather than chuck some. I think when I need more space, these are the books that will be going, because these are quite bad. So the first, if you've not read it, it's kind of a sketchy kind of a fantasy, to be honest with you. In the first book, you know, it's all about real people from our world getting sucked into a fantasy world. And when he gets sucked into this fantasy world, the first thing he does is rape a woman, because he doesn't think it's real, and then he gets sucked back into our world. But through the course of the first trilogy, he doesn't really show any remorse for what he's done after he works out how this fantasy realm is real. He becomes like this, you know, this almost messiah kind of a figure, Thomas Convent. But the first book, it takes some getting used to, but the second and third book in the first trilogy, I thought they were really good. I mean, this is me reading it 15 years ago. The second and third book were really good. The second trilogy with Lynn in it, not as good. A bit like, okay, yeah, I can see where this is going, but still, on the surface of it, is enjoyable. Then the last four, this is all about. I'm trying to. What can I say without spoiling it? If you want to read it, it's about Lynn resurrecting the main character. Here you go, spoils it. It's about resurrecting him, and yeah, it is painfully bad. I might give them, because I've only read them once, I might give them the whole series one read through to see if they actually deserve to still be here, and if they don't, they're getting chucked. Okay folks, and that is it. I hope you enjoyed that, and I will speak to you soon. Goodbye, Booktube.